Okay, Shalom Akim. We out here once again through the spirit. We want to say all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Pakwadash, double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders with a millstone. Citation, I can push this word, and also say the honesty, the hopeful let constantly enduring throughout the four corners of the world. Shalom. I'm Brother Korah Allah.
Brother Kasad.
And through the spirit, we're going to be here, and we're going to do the Lord's work, man. Lord willing, it says final lesson. I have an article I want to open up with going into the Trump, right? Trump cutting the
waiting for pairing.
Trump cutting the SNAP program and other things he's gonna cut, like SNAP. He's gonna cut Medicaid. All right, and the list really goes on. So this is from Newsweek. It says SNAP benefit cut warning issued in state Trump won by 1%. So this article says proposed federal changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program SNAP will drive Wisconsinites into hunger and harm the state's economy, according to new analysts. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services said the state would lose some $314 million in food assistance from the federal government under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. All right, so it says One Big Beautiful Big Act. When you see that word one, you always got to think of, you know, the New World Order. Okay, the one world, you know. All right, so in other words, it's another push to that New World Order, to Satan completing his agenda, which passes the House of Representatives last week, right? So this might be another way of bringing in that chip, okay, the MOTB, the mark of the beast. It says the budget legislation exceeds 1,000 pages and contains some of the most significant changes to SNAP eligibility and benefits in recent years. Some $300 billion in earmarked to be. It says some $300 billion is earmarked to be cut from the nationwide anti-poverty program. So starvation, all right. A lot of this is Wisconsin, but you can imagine it's gonna travel to different states, and a lot of these people are gonna starve, and the only way for them to eat is to comply with the laws. So you got it.
Right. This is Isaiah 32, verse 9. It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters."
Yeah, rise up, you women that are at ease, because it's a lot of the women that really benefit from the system, man. You know, it's mainly the women. Like you saw, you had that the black lady, so-called black lady, right? The so-called Negro on World Star going crazy, ready to commit crimes to feed her family because she cannot support her family because her assistance was cut, her food stamps was cut, right?
Right.
You know, see on that.
You know, I read on for now. It says, "Hear my voice, ye careless daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Give ear unto my speech.
Mm-hmm.
Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women."
Yeah, many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women. And we've seen that now. These women are being troubled now. At one point, these women lived a life of luxury, a carefree life, right? Because the system's designed for them, as long as they are to betray their men. Okay, the system designed for the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American men to suffer, right? Because why? Because the man is the head. All right. So if the man could establish a structure, it'll be a threat to Esau and his structure, his kingdom. So he decided the best way to take down the man is to really take down the woman.
Right. And there's been articles, reports out there about the so-called black woman. She's the one that's out of all the people that's working, she's the one that's being laid off. All right, being hit with unemployment. Okay, being fired from work is mainly these so-called black women. All right, because they're the ones that, you know, they get all these corporate jobs and office jobs. So, you know, now these companies are starting to lay them off. All right, so I'm gonna read on. It says, many days and years shall you be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease.
Yeah, the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Right, first of the month, you know, you're getting the check. All right. They had something going. I think it was I don't think it was true when they said, as far as child support, you can't claim the taxes. Okay, I don't think that was true, but it's a lot of things that's coming to a halt that's concerning these women and their lifestyles. Right, you got women that live off Section 8. You know, that's gonna get cut. WIC, unemployment. You know, so things gonna get a lot more tough. You know, and you know, men, we could withstand a little bit of struggle, right? But women, as soon as they feel a little turbulence, you know, it's panicking, losing their mind, screaming.
Right, because reality is gonna set back in. These women, they've been living in a state of delusion in the sense of that euphoric or that utopia mentality of just doing whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, and not giving a damn about the consequences. The scriptures say, matter of fact, I'm gonna get it after I read this. Well, you know, I'll just get it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
My fault.
Yeah.
Let me grab this real quick. This is 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 6. It says, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. Right. You know, these women living in pleasure, but on the inside, they dead. They're spiritually dead because, you know, they don't have understanding on the current situation, the signs of the times. You know, these women, they don't have no understanding on the signs of the times. Because if they did, they would humble themselves, try to get, you know, with a man, moreover a righteous man of the Most High, an Israelite man, that is. All right, and I'm talking about the women of the tribes. All right. These women just living their best life, man. Independent women. The Most High is taking all that away, man, to humble them. I'm gonna go back to that.
All right. I gotta preach something when you're done.
All right. I'm gonna finish this out real quick for you. This is Isaiah 32, verse 10. It says, many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless woman, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you, and make you bare.
Yeah.
Gird sackcloth on you.
And that's right, because you trust in your oppressor, you trust in Esau. All right. So now it's coming out. This man's a devil, and he's showing his horns. He's showing you how much a devil he is. Everything he gave you was just to put you in a state where you depend on him. So when he takes it away, you bow to his will.
Right, because these people, they don't know any other way to survive. They are basically institutionalized by going to the so-called white man for the one of all things. That's all they know, is to go to this man's supermarket, go to this man for welfare, food stamps, go to this man to divorce your husband and put him on child support. You know, go to this man to work his jobs and his plantations. So reading on, it says, they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine.
Yeah, and that's all. That's all the benefits. You know, that's all. That's all. You know, all the benefits the system has for you, right? All the support that you receive from the system. You know, if you have a newborn, you get certain benefits. You know, work from home, stuff like that. It's Trump passed it was a couple months ago. Trump was talking about if you work from home, you getting fired. You know, so you had women that, you know, men too, really women that would work from home, and they would work from home, and they would get paid, and they would go on vacation, and they have their laptop with them, and as long as they have the laptop, they'd be good. But now Trump is like, yo, what's your purpose? You know, 'cause a lot of these women, they just, you know, they just receive free money. You know, get their job, however they get their job, whether they sleep around for it or they got to dress a certain way for it. But here it is, Trump started cutting that too.
Right.
Yeah.
This is Isaiah 10:1. It says, "Woe unto them." You got a precept, right? Oh, you.
10:1.
Yeah.
That's what I got. Go ahead, you got it.
Okay. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment."
And that's the laws. That's the laws, legislations that they create. You know, and ultimately it's to see you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans suffer. You're right. Esau, the lower level Esau's that you see, the lower level so-called white people that you see walking around, the ones you bump shoulders with, on the train with, work with, they're gonna suffer too. All right, because the so-called white man is such a devil. He doesn't care about affecting his own people. All right, he only cares about a certain bracket of Edomites. All right, the top, the elites. Anything beyond that, you going down with the sheep.
Because this man is the wicked. He's the wicked according to the Bible.
Yeah.
Right? This man is against anything humane, anything of beauty, anything of order in its natural state. The so-called white man has to alter it and defile it and destroy it. Because he is the wicked. It says, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because our people, they have rights. They have God-given rights. Okay? They have they are entitled to their God-given rights. Okay? The so-called white man, you know, he's taking these God-given rights, and he's trying to delegate them and capitalize off of them. You know, water should be free. Okay? You know, taking the lands and covered in the fields, taking them by violence, controlling the money supply, you know, and trying to make a profit over a lot of things that in the earth is supposed to be in abundance. So it says that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless.
Right, widows may be a prey, and rob the fatherless. All right, who the fatherless? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, and guess what, man? A lot of the child support. In order to get child support, the father has to be out the house. Okay, so the system's already set up, designed to where naturally the woman, for easier life, is gonna have the man out the house, right? So if the man's out the house, you can't raise the kids appropriately. You know, that's how them kids grow up, and then, you know, they have they grow up with you know, they've been bad in school and not listening in school and throwing fits because their father's not around to show them the right way or to even keep them in order. Because the kids, they ain't scared of the mother. Okay, the mother, that's to nurture, right? That's the nurturer. The father, that's the one that builds the structure. Okay, so you need the father in the kid's life, in his son's or daughter life. Okay, that's how Esau takes advantage. Right, that's it, right?
Okay.
Slakia. This is second entrance 6, and going straight to the point. straight to the point. 2 Ezra 6:22. It says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty."
Right, that's going into shortage of food. All right, that's going into famine. That's a prophecy, future prophecy that's going to take place in the land of America and in all around the world. Okay, you know, the supermarkets, as we always say, only has a 3-day supply of food. All right, if there's no trucks bringing in imports, shipments, you know, and loading up them shelves, then these people won't be able to eat. Okay, that's going to lead to what? A lot of people losing their mind, a lot of people going crazy, chaos, all hell breaking loose on the streets. Okay, and that time is going to come because it's going to be a global reset. Right now, you know, we seeing these trade wars pop off, you know, between U.S. and, you know, all these different countries. But once these countries completely dump the dollar and they completely, basically, they X America out of the equation, right? Now America is left to fend for itself. So it's going to be very competitive for these goods, for these resources.
Yeah.
And not to mention, it's going to be a change of systems, man.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff is going to be, a lot of it is going to be orchestrated, man.
Yeah.
Because they're going to force the hand of the people to make a choice. You know, going into Revelation, the 13th chapter, this is gearing up to, man. They working on the subconscious mind. The so-called white man, he's a warlock, he's a witch. All of this is you know, gradualism. All right, working on the subconscious mind.
Right. This is continue on. It says 2 Ezra 6:22. "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty.
Right.
And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid."
Right. That's it.
It says, "At that time shall friend fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear of those that dwell therein."
Right, because it's going to be lack of bread and great tribulation. All right, and the trumpet is basically representing that fear, because, you know, the scriptures say, "Shall the trumpet be blown, the people be not afraid." You know, trumpet indicates danger, a solemn situation. When the trumpet was blown, it was a time to be solemn. It was a time to, you know, take heed, like the brother said, dangerous. It could indicate danger, and that's what this scripture is talking about. It's going to be a time of danger, a time of peril, a time of trouble, man.
Yeah, the modern day trumpet will have to be your news or your radio. You're right. And you got the word coming out. Yeah, we in a famine. Okay, you have three days left of food in your supermarket. Everyone, God bless you all. You know what I mean? Something like that. And then all hell's gonna break loose, man. At that point, it's gonna be too late.
And what's going to lead to that too is the inflation.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing inflation. You know, the price of certain items is skyrocketing, man. You know, the cost of living is going up.
Yeah.
You know, constantly you see videos of women complaining, men too, complaining about their bills, that, you know, they can't either they're gonna choose to fill up their car, or they're gonna choose to go to the
eat.
Go to the supermarket and buy food.
Yeah. Simple things are gonna appear as, like, you know, some of the difficult choices you gotta make in your life.
Right.
So that's how hard it's gonna be.
Because part of the reason why it's gonna be inflation is because of supply and demand. All right, the less supply, the more demand, because it's gonna be, them trade wars are gonna lead to that, and then also the dumping of the dollar, man. The nations basically moving on from that, and all these nations, for the most part, they're gonna be they gearing up with the this new system. They're gonna be, you know, doing cashless society, or, you know, they're gonna they're gonna be using cryptos, you know, digital currency.
Yeah.
All right, and that's why the U.S. is trying to really get these nations under subjection. They showed you that in the movie. I forgot the name of the movie, but the so-called black woman was president, and it was on Amazon Flex. I forgot the name of the movie, but the so-called black woman was president, and she was trying to influence. They was having meetings, and they was trying to be basically the forerunners to the crypto and have all these nations under them, just like they did with the U.S. the petrodollar.
Yeah, all these movies is like foreshadowing what they really want to do. You watch a movie and think, oh, just a movie. No, it's real. You know, the cryptocurrency. All right, the Alpha Mercury chip. Esau wants to be like the Most High, or wants to be the Most High. Two more scriptures. No, I gotta get out of here.
Come. All right, this is my last one. Lamentations 4:9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, for these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field.
Yeah, you slain by the sword, you just die. You know, you get shot in the head, you go into the spirit realm, you at rest. All right, you get hit in the head with a bat, knocked out, and that's it. You wake up in the spirit realm. You know, but if you looking for hunger, trying to eat food, you know, that could really play with your psyche. You know, your body, once your body does eat away at itself, your body eats its muscles. Okay, your body eats the fat first. So if you skinny, you're gonna probably die first. But if you fat, your body's gonna eat away at that fat. You know, it's a whole order to your body breaking down. You know, to the point to where your immune system is weakened and you just die from any simple disease. You know, but it is terrible, just sitting there dying, committing cannibalism. Okay, it's terrible, man. You might as well just jump off of something.
Right, man. And we all came from that. Like, we all have food stamps. You know what I'm saying? You know, we working men now, so we don't need food stamps, right? But we all came from that. We all came from, for the most part, not every brother, but for the most part, most brothers came from poverty, knowing what knowing what it's like to starve, not have food in your cabinets at the end of the month. You waiting for that first, man. You waiting for them stamps to kick in. You rubbing your hands like Birdman. You know what I'm saying? But when all of that is taken away, you know, them kids' ribs gonna be touching. You know, mommy, I'm hungry. Daddy, I'm hungry. You know, you're gonna have to make a move. What they gonna do? They're gonna start going in these stores, taking until there's no more to take. And then if it get too bad, or like, daddy, I'm hungry, that shit, that baby gonna start looking like a fucking a piece of lamb, or you know what I'm saying, or some jerk chicken.
Yeah.
You know, to these people without integrity, that is.
Yeah. Which all that happened in the past. You know, read about the time King David, when there was a famine in the land, and you had people eating their kids and conspiring with each other, you know, talking with each other about, I'm gonna eat your kid today and eat your kid tomorrow. You know, so these things happened in the past, and it's gonna happen now. It's gonna get real grim, real dark, all right, real bad in the near future. You know, the trumpet being blown. Ultimately, the trumpet being blown is the prophets out there in the Howard and Zimbabwe, starting with our apostles, bishops, on down. Okay, but that trumpet is being blown, man, all over the world. You know, but that's pretty much it, bro.
Right. So that, we hope that whoever's tuning in, we want to say Tawada for tuning in, and we hope that you've been edified. And we're gonna close by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Hakadash, the honors to our apostles and bishops. And with that, Shalom.
Shalom.